Okay, welcome back, creatures of the night, to the end of an era. We have finally made it, the final part of our four-part saga as we look back at the greatest WrestleMania story ever told. And I am not alone in this. I have been joined this whole step of the way by my good friend Eamon Condon from Instagram, from Chicago, my old stomping grounds. I want to thank you for joining me on this four-part saga that we've been on. How excited are you as we jump into the final part, end of an era, WrestleMania 28?
Stomping grounds. Sounds like a good name for a pay-per-view, pal. I love it. Stomping grounds.
Yes.
It's gonna be a thing.
A short-lived pay-per-view, very short-lived.
Very sure. Dude, I remember that was one of my first reaction videos, was me just sitting in my car, just fucking going at the camera, just going, stomping grounds? Stomping grounds? It just was the fucking stupidest. Well, no, I take that back.
No,
Great Balls of Fire. Great Balls of Fire was the stupidest. Stomping grounds was right there.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sorry, what was your question?
My question is how excited are you for this match, and what are your memories of watching this on pay-per-view? Let's get started with that type of, before we jump right into the match. Your memories of watching it live, and how excited are you for rewatching this now?
Yeah, sorry about that. As soon as you said stomping grounds, like it went white noise after that, because in my head I was coming up with a fucking Vince McMahon. Oh yeah.
It's always good to come up with the Vince McMahon impression.
Yes, so we never can have too many of those. But anyway, I'm excited. I haven't watched this whole match through in maybe even since watching it live the time it happened. Because I've always watched it back since it happened. You know, hard to believe it was already almost 10 years ago.
I know.
But what actually will be 10 years ago once WrestleMania 38 hits. That'll be the fucking 10-year marker.
Yes. A decade. I can't.
Jeez. I remember watching this live in my family room, and I watched it live with my dad and my grandma on pay-per-view. And then when mom got off work, we watched it again. So that's not true. I watched it twice. But that was all still the same day. Thereafter, I think I've only ever watched it in just parts, just kind of starting from where Shawn gets choked out to the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, just everything about this match is great. So I'm really excited to go back, and honestly, I'm excited to see the first like 5 to 7 minutes of it, because I don't really remember a lot of it. I remember that Taker starts out strong, and then it turns into Triple H doing the same fucking stuff he did at Mania 27, but doing it way earlier than it happened because like in the fucking Mania 27 match, they built that shit to like a swan song where they were both very evenly matched up until maybe the 22 minute mark. And then Triple H just kind of takes full momentum. In this match, like Taker has all the momentum in the beginning. And within the first like 8 to 10 minutes, we're in that fucking, we're in that stretch of the match where we were for Mania 27. And so that's honestly a criticism of mine, because I think that they tried to do way too much in that match.
I can see that, yeah.
Because you get to fucking Rock Cena, and you're surprised that like you go back and look at that, it's like Rock kicks out of the first AA, Cena kicks out of the Rock Bottom, Cena kicks out of a People's Elbow, Rock kicks out of a second AA, Cena stays down for a second Rock Bottom. Like when you look at their finish set, it's so like, it's like a finish here, a finish there. This fucking match, every other move was a goddamn finish. It was fucking choke slams, last rides, tombstones, sweet chin musics, pedigrees, chairs out the ass, sledgehammers out the ass, stairs out the ass. Like they did everything but wooden tables and kendo sticks. They may as well have, but they did everything but that. And it gets to the point where like I said, in the first 8 minutes, we're doing this fucking welting up his back with the chairs. Then within 12 minutes of it, 13 minutes of it, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'll keep my eye on the clock as we watch this to see when it really starts. But, Sean's out of commission at that point when he gets choked out.
Mhm.
There's that fucking point where we're 12, 13 minutes in the match. Taker's taking a sledgehammer shot off the face. And then as he's laying there on his knees getting up, Triple H is setting up to fucking kill him. You know what I mean? Literally hit him on the, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I remember watching that live going, he's not gonna fucking, and thank God Shawn Michaels grabbed it. But when Taker's got Shawn in the hold, he hits him in the head with the hammer. So he takes multiple chair shots, 2 full-blown hits to the face with a hammer, a sweet chin music, multiple pedigrees, and then by the time you get to Rock Cena, and mind you, this is an hour into the show. So when you get to Rock Cena, and they're building this up as once in a lifetime when they know damn well it's not, and they're building it up like this is the match where generations collide, and this is going to be the best versus the best. This is the representation of one decade versus the representation of another. This is Attitude Era versus ruthless aggression. And it's just this they built it up to be this they built it up to have the amount of finishes in it that End of an Era did.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't. And so when you get to the end of the match and Cena stays down for that second rock bottom, I remember being very underwhelmed.
Yes.
I remember sitting there live and going, that's it?
Yeah.
That's it? Now, when they did the rematch at Mania 29, that was a lot more up my alley. Fucking 4 rock bottoms here, fucking 2 people's elbows here, fucking 6 super AAs. That turned into a finish fest where they were just trading it back and forth. And that got fun because the kickouts got so ridiculous that you just couldn't believe it was happening. I remember watching that live, being in the building. I went nuts when Cena set him up for that, tried to fool him in, and Rock sat back up, and Cena held himself on the rope, picked him up for that AA. Rock still slipped out the back, still hit him with the rock bottom, and I actually thought that was going to be the end. And when Cena kicked out, I still remember just turning around and looking up at the rest of my section, just yelling, "Let's fucking go!" and just getting so hyped for those kickouts. That felt more like a fucking, a match where generations collide. Even if it had to be a finish fest to make that, excitement or energy level, so be it. I don't know. I just feel like, might be weird for me to say it, but this should have been the main event. This should have been the main event.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, now where do you put Punk and Jericho? I mean, Vince has never been a stranger to.
Ever since WrestleMania 26, The Undertaker should have been the main event. 26, 27, 28, 29. And
I agree with that.
I would say up to 29. 30 is a toss-up, depending.
No, 30, leave that as it was. The only thing I change, you don't kill the streak, but I would keep everything as it was. Every match order, every segment, just have Undertaker win, and then Divas Invitational, Daniel Bryan. That was a storybook Mania. They did that so perfectly up until breaking the streak. If they had not broken the streak, I would have argued that Mania could have been better than 17.
Yes, I wish. I agree. They put the match. That's why I said 30. I don't think so. Keep it as it is. The only thing, Now,
in terms of match quality, I'd have to agree with you. Taker takes it all the way to 29. But from where I was standing on this match should have been the fucking main event.
Yeah.
I could live with Rock Cena too, with how many finishes happened in that match. I could live with that superseding Taker Punk. And but having Taker Punk be semi-main event. So I would have Triple H and Lesnar go first, then Punk Taker, then Rock Cena. That I think is better. But no, for this show, honestly, I would have fucking put
like you just said, it's an hour into it. And like we were talking about before we hit record, I'm fast forwarding at 12 speed, getting to the second to last block here, thinking what it was. It's like an hour into it. I'm like, whoa, because remember, I'm watching this live. I don't remember it being only an hour into the program. I thought this was much later into the program.
Kind of got to give Vince credit for being able to put on America the Beautiful, which, by the way, that was one of the best performances of America the Beautiful I've seen. Lillian Garcia's.
She's always good.
That was fucking, whoo, that was great. Now, they got to give them credit. They did America the Beautiful and the world title match and Big Show and Orton and Kane and Orton and Big Show and Cody Rhodes and the tag match of the girls all in an hour.
Yeah.
Where was that kind of fucking, beat the clock mentality when you were booking WrestleMania 35, dipshit? But seriously, like when you look at the tickers on this timeline here on the cock, you can, as Jim Cornette puts it, on the cock, you can see just how many things he crammed into that first hour. And it's honestly kind of impressive. But what I would do is, so after the girls tag match, I would put on the Team Teddy, Team United shit.
That's where it was coming, because they showed him in the backstage. I thought that was coming next.
I would have done that. Now, honestly, you know what? No, I honestly scratched that shit. I would have done, for the way I would have booked this card, I would have done world title thing is honestly fine the way it was, because that's kind of the beginning planting seeds of WrestleMania, because he goes in there doing the yes and people went in there not liking him. But the fact that they treated that match that should have been a solid 15, 20-minute match that way, that started to get Daniel Bryan that sympathy amongst even his haters, that kind of snowballed into, because then he fucking has that trilogy of matches with CM Punk, with AJ Lee in the center, and he just proves himself over and over and over again. He instantly goes from proving time and time and time again he can work like a motherfucker, and that just further proves the point. Okay, so then you made his WrestleMania match 18 seconds, so that would make even the most savvy Mark sympathize with Daniel Bryan in a very real way, and so, and then that goes right into Team Hell No, which now proves that he can be funny and that he can be very dynamic and he can be very diverse is what I meant. But I mean, against Kane, that was fucking awesome. And then that built his face turn, because people were out there doing the yes chant to him and he was screaming no in their face. And that turned into where when John Cena got to pick his WrestleMania SummerSlam opponent in 2013, everybody was doing the yes, asking for Daniel. And Cena says, I select Daniel Bryan. And the place goes fucking nuts. Daniel comes running down the ramp doing the actual, and like that's the first time he's not doing the yeses, mocking the crowd. You know what I mean? That's like the first time when he runs down that ramp after Cena selects him, and he's going to be the challenger to the championship, and the crowd's losing it because now they know like he's gonna get what he deserves. And Cena's holding that belt up in his face as the cameras go into black, and Daniel Bryan's just leading the whole arena in yes chants in Cena's face. That was like, for me, like the beginning of what sets up WrestleMania, which obviously is really cemented by Triple H's fucking iconic heel turn, which is the birth of the Authority. I mean, so many things are born out of that 18-second thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it is a lot more important in the long run than it gets credit for, because it's things like that made CM Punk leave. And it was CM Punk leaving that gave Daniel Bryan, kind of bringing that whole story full circle, his shot that he wasn't even supposed to have. Because that was supposed to just be Batista and Orton in the main event one-on-one. But, to finish my tangent there, I would book, the way I would book this show, I would keep that opening, because I wouldn't fuck with that. And I just explained why. That pretty much starts your WrestleMania story, so I wouldn't fuck with that. I would keep that as the opening match, and then go into Kane and Orton, then go into, I would actually save Big Show and Cody Rhodes, because that was a story they were building too, with Big Show finally having his moment. So I would wait on that. Big Show should get his fucking moment after Maria fucking Menounos is disgracing the fucking ring. Because I never understood why they let her work in that fucking. And if you watch that match,
I don't, and she's awful.
It was not good.
I remember that from 10 years ago, her being god awful.
The fact that this is the first WrestleMania The Rock works in how many fucking years? The fact that you've got a locker room.
8 years.
Right. And the fact that you've got a locker room full of hungry, young, ready to go talent. Let's even exclude the men. I'm talking about the women right now. Think of all the women that could have taken that spot.
Maria Menounos.
It was such a disgrace, man. It was a disgrace to ever do that. But anyway, Brian and Sheamus first, Kane Orton second, bullshit women tag match third. Then the fucking Team Teddy, Team Johnny, then Big Show Cody. Or honestly, you know what? No, scratch that. Women, then Big Show Cody, then tag team, then Jericho Punk, then Rock Cena, then end of an era.
Good.
That's how I would have booked it.
I would
agree. For Mania 29, we both pretty much agreed. Everything up to the 3 main events, shuffle that to Triple H Lesnar first, then Taker Punk, then Rock Cena.
Agreed.
So, I mean, but that's just like, I don't even remember that either, too. And that's like a very fair point that you said. I didn't even remember that it was that early into the show.
I don't.
It's a 4-hour show. So, like, the fact that the end of an era match is a quarter of the way into the show.
Yeah. And it's about 30 minutes. I remember it's about a half-hour match. So
end of an era, more like end of the first hour.
Yeah. So it brings us to like an hour and a half. So you got oh my gosh, almost 2 hours left of programming, and you only have the Team Teddy, Team Johnny, Punk, Jericho, and the main event to cap it all off.
It looks like there actually might be one more.
Maybe it's like a little backstage segment.
Or you know what? No, you know what? It might have been excuse me. That tag match actually got more time than it should have. It was just the Hall of Fame.
Oh, gotcha.
After end of an era. It was just that little blip is the Hall of Fame. That's it. Nothing important.
That's right. I remember that now.
But yeah, no. So you have you cram fucking 4 matches into the first fucking hour, and then you got 2.5 hours to go, and you've got 3 matches to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rock Cena alone took like an hour because you had the MGK concert, you had the Flow Rider concert, then you had Cena's entrance, then you had Rock's entrance. You had like a 10-minute video package that played before any of these fucking concerts. So I mean, the video package, the concerts, the entrances, that was probably all 30 minutes right there.
Yeah.
And then they get a 30-minute match that was, to me, underwhelming when put up against End of an Era.
Yes, it was.
Put up story-wise or put up match-wise. You take away the fucking streak, and it's just a rivalry match between Triple H and Taker, it still fucking knocked Rock Cena out of the fucking water.
It did. And as we've been saying, this whole entire thing we've been doing, it's all leading up to this moment. 4 years. 4 years have led up to this moment. And not even that, you also got what they did in 97, 98, 2001, 2002. Everything before.
Took that right out of my mouth. I was just going to say, it goes back to fucking In Your House, bro.
It goes back all the way. And you have
in their first, let's not forget, in Undertaker and Shawn's very first interaction together at that In Your House, how does it end? Triple H helps Shawn defeat the Undertaker. So it goes back to that very first encounter at In Your House.
Almost 15 years of just rivalry, just everything, the pay-per-view matches and everything back and forth, and just the Rock Cena. It's underwhelming. It couldn't hold what Undertaker, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels have built.
Right. And it only took Shawn 20, 23 years, give or take, to return the favor, because when they go to Australia at Super Showdown, then it's Shawn who helps Triple H keep Taker down. But it only took him two decades and some change to return the favor.
He got there. But
I got you, pal.
Yeah. So I'm ready when you are. You ready for this match?
Oh, I got it at 1 hour and 4 exactly.
At hour 4 exactly on Peacock. That's where we're queued up.
On the cock.
The gong has just rang throughout the arena, and we are paused as Triple H looks towards the entrance, and we are gonna count it down from 3, 2, 1.
Damn, you fucked it up, bro.
No, I did it right this time. And
Wait, did you hit play?
yes, I did.
You gotta go back. I didn't hit play.
Okay, we're going back.
Because I thought you were gonna do the 1, 2, but you didn't do it. And you know what? No, you know what? You don't even get to do it anymore. You lost your privileges.
Okay, let me know when you are ready to hit play.
Are you at that exactly where 104?
Yes.
Dot. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. 2, 1.
Uh-oh. Dude, I missed that.
Just a flood of smoke. You don't even see him yet.
Mania 34, man. It's the last time I got to experience that. You could feel the fire on the other side of the arena, dude. It was insane.
Is that like, and here he is. You get to see a brand new spiked entrance coat. Is that like the coat? It's like the Super Shredder coat.
Looks like he came straight out of the fucking anime fans' closet.
Such a great visual here. He raises his arms, and it's like the heart sways.
From Death Valley, weighing 299 pounds, The
From that moment on, they never did the fire until he was halfway down the ramp.
I think you have your volume a little too high. I can barely hear you.
Wow. I said, from that moment on, they never put the fire on until he was halfway down the ramp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ever since Elimination Chamber 2010.
Oh, yeah, that.
They
Yeah.
would start the fire and then they turn it off when he hit the stage, and then once he got halfway down the ramp, they turn it back on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah. The pyro guy does not want a repeat of that guy.
I think he got fired that night.
He got fired before Undertaker got back.
Demon of Death Valley, one of the most intimidating individuals in the history of WWE.
We got Team Ross on commentary.
Yeah, Jericho said that he was there. He was in the trainer's room. He saw Taker get iced down after the match, and he heard Taker say to Vince all calmly, "Vince, I don't want to hear any excuses. I just want you to go right now, go get that fire guy, and get him the hell out of here. Because if I see him, I'm going to kill him, and you know I'm telling the truth."
Yeah, I know.
This was visually one of his best entrances.
Oh, I love this. I love this entrance, and I love the next year at 29.
The fog, though, was like so extra. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen that much fog on the ramp or even over here. Like, I
Yeah.
stairs, you can still see the fog.
And I didn't know if you heard me, but I love that visual. Like he puts his arms, and then like
I heard you.
the fog dissipates. I love that.
I didn't really like it though, because it kind of made him human. Because like, you know, the wrestlers are typically supposed to, you know, walk up to the center of the stage and then do their big pose. You know, Cena goes to the center of the stage and he does his, you know, and then runs. Roman Reigns does his, you know, punches the stage, the whole place goes up in fire. You know, it's like
Here's the big reveal. The big reveal of his new hair.
His fucking bald dome. And at least this time, he was able to take the hood off.
Stop.
You know,
Don't.
without a problem.
Don't. I don't want to remember Raw 1000.
And what's funny is he actually has some more stubblies here than he did at Raw 1000. At Raw 1000 and at Mania 29, it's clean shaven.
Yes.
Here he's got some stubblies. Here he looks like he's trying to be John Cena.
Yeah, it's like straight back the mohawk.
Like a little bit of a crew cut. The fucking Metallica song.
They're so good at telling a story without even saying a word.
The Metallica music I didn't really like for this.
Oh, when the cell comes down here? Yeah.
For the whole promo leading up to it, on every episode of Raw leading up to it, they would play this.
Yeah. I remember.
Watching that, you almost forgot there's another entrance. The entrance of the demonic.
And that screen was really cool for like hiding the cell. It looked like the cell just comes from out of nowhere with that screen.
Yeah. It's a good point. Like the cell just appears.
Right, because in Mania 32, they didn't even try to hide it. In Mania 32, it's just plainly there in between the four small screens. But here they like put some effort into hiding it.
Yeah, they did.
I am very fortunate though, not even in just the amount of his WrestleMania entrances I got to see, but I got to see his last ever Hell in a Cell match, which was at WrestleMania, and it was in a proper Hell in a Cell. It wasn't in the fucking red like thing that looks like it came out of. Literally, the Hell in a Cell today looks like it's flipping the Big Red Dog's fucking cage.
It's awful. It's awful.
Sure. So it's just so the fact that that was like the last, pretty much one of the last Hell in a Cell matches that was done in a proper cage.
This match could end at any moment with these heavy strikes.
And like you were saying, Undertaker coming out strong right away, punching up Triple H right into the corner, not letting up.
And the fact that Vince thought it was a good idea for Mania 32, hey, you insane, fuck it, we'll give you 30 minutes, pal. And that's all you got. It's like, fucking 30 minutes, and I love The Undertaker. Even I was sitting there looking at my mom like, this shit's been going on a while.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to watching that back as you take a look back at your WrestleMania memories matches. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, because this was the last Mania that I tried to go to, but close but no cigar. And imagine if this was my first Mania live. Oh, man.
Man, what a memory to have for that one.
Yeah, it wasn't, though. I was saying it would have been so cool if it was.
Yeah. But the next one, the first one you come to live, that's a great one to attend live.
What's so funny is in those days, you would have considered the 2013 Mania subpar compared to like 2012 or compared even 2010. You would have compared, even with all the stars that were on it, Jericho, Taker, Rock, Lesnar, you still would have looked at it and been like, the matches though were still so-so compared to End of an Era, compared to Once in a Lifetime, hell, even compared to Jericho Punk, because that's great and underrated championship match. In those days, you would have looked at Mania 29 and said it probably didn't really. Damn. It's very hard
those days now.
It's so hard to see what they're even doing when the cameraman's that close to them.
Yeah. Undertaker does not have good
streak started for The Undertaker all the way back to 1991 in Los Angeles when he beat Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Anyway, my point was, yeah, in those days, Mania 29, you know, you would have looked at it and said it wasn't, you know, all that great. I wouldn't say it was bad, but it wasn't, you know, like this Mania. So, but now when you compare Mania 29 to like, say, Mania 37 or 36 or even 35, Mania 29 is like a fucking Hall of Fame.
One fall to a finish.
Yeah.
Hell in a
And
Cell
now I'm
is-
hearing more Michael Cole and Jim Ross
And
than
again, the
you.
only way you win this Hell in a
The
Cell
pop.
matchup is via pinfall or submission.
Oh,
Inside the ring here, inside Hell in a Cell.
There we go.
Sit to a finish, and with that, this is an end of an era.
and honestly, another reason why this should have been the main event, it would have created a lot more doubt in people's minds that the streak was going to live.
Exactly.
And imagine, and then even for the smartest Mark, and even for the most diehard Undertaker fan, you can't tell me Jim Ross making his entrance to call this match after Rock Cena, you can't tell me you would have even like a little bit of a doubt that the streak was going to die.
Yeah.
That would have created, dude, everybody would have been crying at that false finish of the super kick into pedigree if that had been the main event.
And also, even with him winning and him posting at the end, it puts the doubt that the final one. Is this it?
Triple H has never lost a match.
And I also think it would have been cooler to end Mania 28 with the visual of Shawn, Taker, and Triple H arm in arm like that, because that really would have been like a goodbye to that era.
It would have been. I really agree with that.
Because when you are watching WrestleMania 28 live and you watch Triple H, Shawn, and Taker, walk to the back and the screen fades to black, and all of a sudden, 3 seconds later, you see Big Show, Eve Torres, and Rey Mysterio in army gear going, Slim Jim is proud to be a sponsor of. It's like, suck my dick. You barely gave this moment the respect it deserved. So I think that.
That's why
That, and the last visual you should have seen was them
I agree.
walking out of the arena arm in arm.
I agree. That's why I really wish this would have been main event, just for, like you said, the with Jim Ross coming out and it being the main event, it would have been like, oh, they would have been on not knowing if this is the last one or not. And even with Undertaker winning, that visual of all of them up at the stage, it's a perfect visual to end WrestleMania on.
Just everything about it, man. Jim Ross calling it, the fact that it's in a cell, the story that they're telling, the story that they're wrapping up, the match quality. Just you have every reason under the sun to put this on as the main event. But then no, we'll put it on an hour in now.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeez, man. At least, at the very least, the sun's down, so we fans at home can visualize and envision that this is the main event.
This is the 16th WrestleMania.
So we can just sit here and pretend like this is what went on last, even though it should have. Fucking, I remember watching the True Story of WrestleMania documentary, and there's a little spot they do in there where they talk about Taker Shawn. And I just sit there saying, I'm thinking to myself, man, how does that not go on last? And then he laughs. And we were on right after. Talking about him, Big Show, and Cena.
Yeah.
And they were on right after Shawn Taker, but I mean, the crowd was just gone. They were so gassed from the fucking roller coaster they were taking on.
And Undertaker showing right through this whole match right now, such a different Undertaker from the year prior. Because, like the image that people have is Undertaker hurt, and now Undertaker's just like being vicious and just attacking Triple H, giving Triple H no defensive maneuvers or anything. As we just saw him attacking him with a steel steps.
Dude, that steel shot, dude, he hit him hard.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say here too, he had better physical conditioning for Mania 34 than he did here. He's got a bit of a gut in this Mania. Not noticeably, but like if you're looking for it, you see it. He's still moving really fast, bouncing off the ropes like he did when I was a kid.
Yeah, nothing compares to 34. He looks amazing.
Holy shit. And the fact that he only went 2.5 minutes is just such a crime. He should have gone fucking 2.5 hours in that goddamn condition. Jesus Christ. Just wipe the rest of the card clean. No Roman Brock, no AJ Shinsuke.
It's just Undertaker versus John Cena for 2.5 hours.
Dude, for 2.5 hours, I would have taken that gladly. I just, and there's a difference. The thing I was gonna say is, what I like about Taker here is he's going slow, but he's going his methodical slow.
His methodical slow.
When he's running, he's running.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a difference between Taker being gassed to the gills and being methodical.
Yes.
And so I appreciate in this one, he doesn't get gassed to the gills all that much. Me and my good friend Amanda were talking today about Mania 38, and we were talking about, you know, where he would fit on a card if you're going to do some sort of farewell for him. And, you know, it's like, do you even try to have him go? Whether it's a surprise or it's announced beforehand, do you even try to have him go 15 minutes at his age, or is that asking too much? Do you think he could?
You saw him training with Michelle.
Yeah, he didn't look good though. Woo! Now, what I like about that, they redid the spot there that they did at Mania 27, although instead of doing it from the table to the floor, they did it from the stairs to the apron. Now, if you watch the replay, that time he landed perfectly. He did a perfect backbone. When they did it on the outside at Mania 27, he almost broke his damn collarbone because he landed like completely on his side.
There's no coincidence that the Undertaker goes back to the strikes.
But
Why the advantage? The strikes come into play.
they actually do go a little bit longer than I thought before Triple H, you know, starts doing the chair stuff on him. It still happened too early, in my opinion, but he
knows exactly what he's doing.
but yeah, he did get a little more onslaught than I thought he did. I know it pretty much ends when Triple H does the spine buster on the step, but I think it's now.
Just there.
Yeah. So are you a little bit ahead of me then?
No, I said it was just coming up. It's just gonna be just there.
Did it just happen for you, or?
Yeah, it just happened to me.
Oh no, he's got him in Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
Hell's Gate, that's big. Triple H last year, the Hell's Gate. Undertaker's got it. He's got the submission locked in, does the Deadman. Shawn Michaels asking his best friend if he wants to give it up. The straight. Simple straight fight. To cover.
Triple H is bleeding all over Undertaker's chest.
Well, one thing that saved Triple H there, I believe, is the fact that Undertaker's back was on the steps. Watch this again. And right here, the spine, the lower back, and then the strength, the raw, animalistic strength of the game. That is survival mode.
Now Triple H is gonna be
I've never seen anyone
here.
ever.
He's look. Here comes the chair.
Well, obviously,
I know. Here comes the chair
pulled out
spot.
of one steel chair, all legal. Another steel steps, and now 2 chairs in the ring. Hard shot downstairs. Again on the spine. A cerebral assassin going back to the spine. No wasted motion by this man. Wounds beginning to show already on the face of Triple H as this matchup continues. Superhuman results are achieved by perseverance and heart. And we're seeing that from the game.
I like the way Sean plays devil's advocate as a referee in this match.
All this is
Like he doesn't decide he wants everybody to ground.
Steel steps, metal chairs. Hell in a Cell is a lawless entity, ladies and gentlemen, with no rules. No, look at the spine again. It's as if there's a large bullseye that has been figuratively drawn on the spine of the Undertaker.
Go.
Yeah. So now here we go.
Dude, it's fucking back here.
I know.
Again on the spine, not the legs, not the head, not the
And you don't realize the damage it does until Undertaker pulls down the straps and you see everything.
vicious attack. Shawn Michaels says too much. going to be too much when there are no rules. Exactly. Taking out the edge of the chair. What a win, but destroy this man.
You can already see how welted he is, dude. You want it done? Then you end it. Cover him.
I know you can see the welts. You don't see the scratches until he bears the back.
Refusing to cover the Undertaker. Make it one match. Come on.
Oh, so much damage and violence. You can
It's
see.
right there. You can see how fucking welted he is.
End it, or I will.
End it, or I will.
Stop it. Don't stop it. Do not stop it.
It's such a good story. Such a good story.
So should have been the main event.
I know. I know.
The Deadman rises. No. Oh, and the Deadman goes down again. And Triple H is going to end it. Finally the cover. Finally the cover. Will it be? The streak will. Oh,
It was robbed.
At
of the
least
main
it
event.
will not end
At least
now.
it will not end now.
It was robbed of a main event place.
Story took 20 years to build. And
Yeah.
it didn't get the main event.
I know.
That's been Triple H too. Don't stop me, Sean. End it, Sean, or I will. End it, or I will.
Here comes the hammer.
How torn Sean is. He wants to end it.
No, Sean plays such a good referee in this match.
I'm ending this one way or the other.
A much needed part of the story in the match.
End it. I will. Triple H obviously out to prove that he can do. Let me ring the bell. I'm ringing the bell. Please, please let me ring the bell. What Shawn Michaels could not do. But the Undertaker.
But here's an interesting point. Let's say he broke the streak here. Did he really break the streak? Because in any other match, it wasn't based on just beating the living shit out of somebody with weapon after weapon after weapon until they were done. You know, every other wrestling match was a wrestling match. You know, Edge and Taker, even though Edge tried to cheat, Batista and Taker, Rick and Taker, and one, I think that was no DQ. But all the first matches where they didn't even know it was gonna do here. This is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
no, right?
That I was like, when I saw that live, I was fucking what? And the crowd booing because they wanted to see that. But it's like I really do challenge that. It's like if he had won this match, did he really break the streak, or did he just use weapons on a man until he was done? Because like Brock, if we're gonna talk about broke the streak, Brock broke the streak. Triple H uses every fucking weapon possible and doesn't do it. Brock uses his bare hands and does it. So it's like if we're really talking about breaking the streak, like just by pure skill. Because I mean, anybody can kill somebody by hitting them enough times with a fucking piece of metal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, anybody can do that. So it's like that's what I'm wondering. Like, would it have really been the streak ending
It
there?
would have been a cheap version of ending it.
And if you were gonna give that to somebody, shouldn't it have been when you turned Roman heel for the first time? I felt like it should have been at Mania 33. Turn the big dog into the tribal chief. and do it that way. You just beat him with a fucking chair until he's
Oh,
done.
there's the hammer spot.
Right to the head. The second hammer blow to the head. Mind you, multiple chair shots and 2 sledgehammer shots to the head doesn't compare to Brock Lesnar's bare hands in WWE Live.
I mean, yeah, as you were talking about, Reigns would have been a better pick to do it, but that was a no DQ match also.
It wasn't initially. They turned it into a no holds barred match as they were walking out there. Those who just fucking announced it. I have a program from that Mania. It's not listed as a no holds barred match.
Interesting.
It's listed as a one-on-one match. The whole time it was going to be one-on-one. But Vince changed it at the last minute because all the fucking news reports with Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer at the head of it were circulating that they were going to book it where the ref went down and Roman cheated by using a chair to beat Taker. And so people were saying they wanted that to be the finish. They wanted Roman to use a chair to beat Undertaker. And so Vince gave them that, but he turned it into a no holds barred match so that he could still keep Roman face.
So stupid.
Bonus. Thank God the streak wasn't alive at that point, so I can kind of let it go. But if that was how the streak ended, I mean, talk about the biggest missed booking opportunity, especially with him being heel now. Roman turning heel should have been the moment the streak ended. If you were going to do it any way other than Raw. This is a great spot too. Charles counting the near fall of the choke slam, and the choke slam actually gets a pretty good pop to the near fall.
Charles Robinson running down there for the second time, trying to save Undertaker's streak.
Also, listen to this.
Oh, so much. So close.
When Triple H kicks out of that choke slam, Michael Cole screams in excitement. Yes! But Michael was he still a heel in 2012? Yeah, kind of, I guess, if you're going off of like his fucking coal miners routine. But
I mean, kind of, but is Triple H even a heel?
Somebody's got to be the heel in the story. I mean, he's playing heel-ish. But no, Michael Cole cheering on Triple H is what I found to be such a dick move. When Triple H kicks out of that choke slam and Michael Cole's exclaiming in excitement that he kicked out, I was like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, I think he is still a heel, yeah.
Here we go, dude.
Yeah, here it goes. Here it goes.
Everybody's on their feet now.
I remembering it live, I really thought that was it.
I did too, dude.
I really thought that was it. I thought that's how it was. If they were gonna end it, there was storybook if they were gonna end it there.
I lost my shit.
I know. I remember losing my shit too. I was like, oh, no.
Imagine being in that crowd on the floor, not even in the front row, on the floor, in the mix of it. Because that energy must have been insane. You can barely see people through the chain link fence, but just look behind them, man. Look at all those people there. That fuck, dude. There's nothing like that.
2012, he will not die.
And now everybody's on their feet, man. Now there's a cooking with gas now.
Now it becomes the second wind of the Undertaker.
That comeback, dude.
That comeback's amazing.
Everything.
It's amazing.
The fact that Sean let Triple H ragdoll him as many times as he did without switching, like, why didn't he super kick Triple H once?
I know. I was expecting that too.
He should have. That would have been. Imagine if Sean. That's how they probably should have finished it. Sean should have wiped his hands clean of the whole thing. He should have super kicked Hunter, stood over both of their prone bodies, and then walked out of the cell.
But then you don't get that final image.
No, he could come back. When Triple H is laying in the middle of the ring, he could go there to his aim trying to help him up. You know, he could always come back for that part.
This whole comeback's amazing.
For the story's sake, I just think he should have super kicked him.
I think he should have super kicked H. I agree.
And then just leave, wipe his hands clean of actually making the decision. Will it be? Can it be? And now that big ass loogie that he wipes all over Triple H's shoulder. There's Sean in a heap. So it was at this point that I would not have done that extra pedigree. That's where I feel like they went a little overboard with Triple H hitting another pedigree. And actually, was that the only pedigree in this match?
No.
Did he already hit a pedigree in this match?
With the sweet chin music.
You're right. Never mind. Fuck me. The second pedigree here that they're going to do, I think is where it got a little superfluous. They should have, at this point, instead of kneeling up and trading bombs, it should have gone right into where Triple H crawls for the chair or for the hammer, and Triple H and Taker stands on it.
That's such a great visual. I can't wait for it.
It should have gone right into that, though, is what I'm saying. From the tombstone kick out, it should have gone into that. Because it just didn't make sense to me to have Undertaker take a finish and then be the one to immediately come back with the chair outside. It just didn't make sense. It kind of downgraded Triple H's finish. I would have rather, in the amount of time that it took Triple H to recover from the tombstone, have that be the amount of time Taker needs to recover from what he went through. Then they both go for a weapon. That, I think, would have made more sense. Because this whole part right here didn't have to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
This was too much to me. Because like you can see, even everybody in the front row, half of them got up, but the other half didn't. Like the crowd didn't really pop as hard for that pedigree kick out. Because it was just like, just again, to me, it just, like you can see in the crowd.
His hand almost came down for 3.
It actually did come down for 3. You could hear it. You hear his hand hit 3. That's, I mean, for that alone, that's the only reason why I guess I'd keep it in. The pedigree kick out where he actually hits a 3. But I mean, if you look at the crowd, you know, the crowd reaction from the first pedigree compared to the second, it's night and day. Like everybody loses their shit at that first pedigree kick out because they really thought it was over. At that second one, I just feel like only half of them were as into it. And so that's just what I feel like downgraded the pedigree here. He sat up after a second pedigree.
Well, the only thing you can make the case is it's like Triple H is more tired. It's not that strong of a pedigree.
But no, dude, because it's like at Mania 27, he took 3 pedigrees and didn't get up. And Triple H immediately went into the chair onslaught. Taker getting up before Triple H can get up after taking his pedigree, to me, just completely downgraded the finish. That was like,
here comes the image.
Yeah, the image you love.
It's so good.
That grin, that little half crooked grin,
Yeah.
that was a nice smile you made. You know Taker was putting some receipts in those. Did you see the way he fucking jerked when he got on his back, dude? Taker was putting some receipts in those.
And it's how the chair opens. He just got to close it again.
It's being assaulted and attacked.
Taker, to me, still is the stiffest chair swinger that there's ever been. Nobody swings a chair as hard as Taker.
Gotta make that shit look real.
Dude, but like he makes it so real that like when he hits the guys, they're fucking crying. Like for real.
Hazardous chair shots from the ruthless Undertaker. Hell bent on retaining.
That would have been a great chair to own. That bent chair from the end of an era match.
Any one of the fucking 7 chairs they use.
Right?
Both of you, come on. Yeah, no, I mean they fucking use one chair to the point where it completely falls apart. So they just grab another chair and just do it again. So now it falls apart.
Yeah, right.
But no, like going to my point at like fucking WrestleMania 12, for example. When Shawn and Brett do that match for a fucking hour, Brett has most control. They go to sudden death. Shawn hits the sweet chin music. Brett's up before Shawn. That's to me, that's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It just and like there, he obviously got up before Shawn to kind of say "fuck you" to him. But I mean, just me, especially. I mean, if you didn't have the Mania 27 match where he took 3 pedigrees and then didn't get up, and then you go into Mania 28, it's whatever. But I mean, for Mania 28 to take 2 pedigrees and sit up and then be up before Triple H, I just thought that was a little. That's where I thought the match kind of went out of. That's when we kind of drew out of the lines of the coloring book, if you want my 2 cents. That showed.
You have Undertaker playing the part of Triple H now at WrestleMania 27. Stay down.
Well, it's gone full circle now.
Yes, it
Taker
has.
yelled it at Shawn.
Yes.
Hunter yelled it at Taker. Taker now yelled it at Hunter. Like, it went full circle. And now Shawn turns his back on the entire finish.
Yeah. Because you know what's coming.
And now it does a salute to WrestleMania 26. And Shawn looks away because he knows he's going to be looking at exactly how his career ended. And this is exactly how Shawn's career ended, except Shawn beat Taker to the throat slash. Now it's Taker who gets to actually complete what he didn't get to complete at Mania 26. And that I like.
And he doesn't get slapped.
I like that he tries to do it at 26 and doesn't get to finish it off. But the way they end the story is with him getting to do it, like the proper way.
Because he doesn't get slapped here, so it's a win-win.
And there's no hesitation. There's no hesitation. Shawn counts. He doesn't stop. He counts it. He's fair.
And there we have it.
There's a little bit of a pullback though. There's 1, 2, 3. So I mean, there's a little bit of a pullback, but he counted.
The Undertaker stands at 20-0 at WrestleMania.
There ain't no grave.
No, not here. Not.
That whole Mania, dude. Like, I love the colors of that Mania. The tree trunks for the base of the pillar or the canopy over the ring. The gold Mania logo. The blue and orange on the screens. That whole stage they did really well.
Mm-hmm.
But this was also the first. No, Mania 27 was the first. This was the first outdoor stage where the ramp went completely from the stage to the ramp with no extra length.
But Undertaker does what he couldn't do a year prior. He stands on his own power.
Not necessarily. Shawn pulls him up.
Well, he sits up.
Well, I mean, he gets his head on the bottom rope. He leans up enough to have his head laying on the bottom rope. And Shawn goes over and gives him his hand to get him up. Taker, the fact that Taker pulled Shawn up to his feet after their match, and now Shawn pulls Taker up to his feet, is just very, very apropos. And Jim Rod's asking here, the question remains, will we ever see The Undertaker again? And remember those days, like, they were very, very few. There was only like 2 or 3 years that you could do that. But like from Mania 27 to 29, remember those 5 minutes after the match where the music is still playing and you're already in your head visualizing what's going to happen the next year? How he's going to come back, who he's going to fight, how the streak's going to go on. I remember in this moment when this match ended, all I could think about was, can we get to Mania 29 already? Because I knew that was going to be the next time I could see him. I knew he wasn't going to come back until then.
Never be at the same place at the same time in this exact environment. History was made here tonight. WrestleMania.
And here comes the pose.
Another thing he was robbed of the previous year.
All the more reason this should have been the main event.
So many mirror images of the past 3 years.
That picture right there, him facing the stage, Triple H on his back, Shawn on his knee, that whole visual. The fireworks, everything, dude. That's how you tell a story. These 3 right here, like you just watch this on repeat. Started in your house in the 90s and go all the way to this.
Yeah.
And just watch. Like that's how you fucking tell a story. And that's how you make people care about a wrestling match.
And this should have been the one to close out the show.
Wrestling is as simple as Paul Heyman put it. Who are these 2 guys? Why are they fighting? Why should I give enough of the shit to pay to see it? That's it. Like it's that simple. He told a story about I can't remember who it was. Somebody was saying it to Dusty Rhodes backstage. Hey, I go out there, I tell him I'm looking forward to working with you. You come out there, you call my mom a whore, then we fight. Just like, it was just that simple. It didn't need some convoluted, long-ass family tree storyline. It was just 2 guys that just had a beef and were going to settle it. And these guys were able to just make you care about what they were doing. And this was one of the last years that Shawn tried to keep the hair going. Poor thing. Keyword tried. See this moment right here, the music turned off, the purple light's still on, and this spotlight, this being the ending of WrestleMania, would have had such a more profound moment.
I agree.
The music turning off and then just standing in these lights, it would have been, my goodness.
Such a better way to end the program.
Rather than Cena sitting on the ramp in his jorts, all depressed. Oh no, I lost the match. Now my wife is going to leave me.
That, ladies and gentlemen,
What's cool there is that he did a little homage to Mania 27 there too. He sat on the apron and hopped off the way he did at 27, but instead of falling to the floor, he caught himself. Here comes the
So many
visual again.
homages. So many homages to the past matches. That's why this is the best story ever.
That grin, that half-ass grin, just, dude, he killed that grin.
I know.
Yeah, no, it is easily the best of the 4 matches. Well, no. Taker Shawn is the best one. The first one. Taker Shawn 1 is the best one, in my opinion. This is number 2.
I love this one the most of all of them. Because it's the culmination. It's the culmination.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Still, 25 is just.
I know, but then this one squeaks out at 1 for me.
What was weird was I just noticed now in the replay with that, tombstone he did. He didn't bring the tongue out. He just went and just opened his mouth really quickly. That was it.
No, he brought the tongue out.
Not for that one. No, not for that one.
Yeah.
I'm going back right now.
Go back. The tongue comes out.
No, it does not. You can go back right now. Look at that replay if you like. The tongue does not come out on that final tombstone. All right, now you're way ahead of me, so I gotta get back up to speed.
Oh yeah, they're hugging at the stage.
Yeah, there we go. Now I'm at it now. Dude, he looks like he took the fucking Passion of the Christ scourging on his back. That's not even a joke, dude, man. Like, he got wrecked. I'm pretty sure I was right, too. Let your video play. I'm pretty sure the next thing you see is a Slim Jim commercial with Big Show, Rey Mysterio, and Eve Torres.
It may, but it cuts to a commercial.
If you date,
Oh, okay.
you could be.
We'll just leave it. I'm telling you, in a minute when it comes back, I'm gonna say 95% sure. And it's Slim
But
Jim.
like we've been saying the whole entire thing, that should have been the final image of WrestleMania.
Use it on the major heart race.
All right, slowly. That should have been. I mean, Nelson was gonna follow it. The only match that could have followed it was Team Teddy versus Team Johnny.
That's metal
But
in your lungs.
I kid, I jest. But
come on, no tech ODT.
it was
can not only
yeah, no, I mean nobody could have followed that. Not even Rock and Cena. That couldn't have followed it either.
Nurtec is the first.
I have a question for you too. I'm gonna ask you it in the next 16 seconds because we're about to see
One quick dissolved
what,
tablet can start
what
fast
comes
and
after
fast.
this.
Don't take if allergic to Nurtec.
What comes
The
after
most
this
common
ad.
side effects were nausea, stomach pain, and
I think it's just the Hall of Fame that comes up.
Migraine my way. What's your way?
But
Ask
they
your doctor
show
about Nurtec.
the rerun on here the way it was shown live. So I think you still see the commercials. Oh, well, they took the commercial out of this one. If you watch Mania 29, it goes right into right after Taker's match. It goes right into the preview for Mick Foley's 3-disc set. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Diary of a Hardcore Legend or something like that. And the commercial. Oh wow, fuck. The commercial for that is actually really, for the preview, I should say, for that 3-disc set is actually a really nice preview. The only way I'm gonna be able to settle this then once and for fucking all is to fucking get the WrestleMania. Actually, I think I already have Mania 28 on 3-disc set. I think I actually already own it. But I was gonna say the only way I'd be able to solve that mystery once and for all would be to the only way I'd be able to solve that mystery once and for all would be to whip out the DVD and watch it on the DVD, because on the DVD they just play it as it was shown live on the pay-per-view. So you see all the commercials that they play in the pay-per-view in the order that they were played. So I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go back and see if I was right about that. But anyway, here's my question for you. Ric Flair, if you remember that WWE 2K14 panel they did that Jim Ross was the host of, and Ric Flair showed up to that thing pissed drunk, and
I remember this, yes.
kind of took over the whole thing, and that was partly why Vince fired Jim Ross. So Ric Flair tells the story. All he says, he's pointing at Mick Foley, who's sitting next to him, and he goes, what he's making reference to is it was me, Dave Bautista, and Randy Orton against him and The Rock at WrestleMania 20th anniversary. And he goes, are you kidding? We stole it. Shitting me? You think anybody else could have followed that match? Huh? You think Goldberg? Huh? Come on, give me a fucking break. And when he says that, Mick Foley just crumbles in his seat. He just starts crying, laughing. But Ric Flair says, nobody could have followed that match. You shitting me? Nobody could have followed that. Here's my question for you. Do you think he has a point? Do you think that Rock and Mick Foley versus Evolution match was like one of the best things to come out of Mania 20? Or was Shawn, Benoit, and Triple H the key takeaway? And I mean, excluding the very end where you have Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit as the champions. Take away that moment. I'm talking just match-wise. Which match do you think coming out of Mania 20, and maybe even not either of those two, because I know a lot of people say that a very underrated match was Christian and Chris Jericho from that show. So in your opinion, what do you think was, in terms of match quality, not, you know, the return of The Undertaker, not the moment of Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, on just pure match level, which do you think was the match of Mania 20? And do you think that Evolution Rock and Sock Connection tag match has any place in the conversation
Yes.
of top 2, top 3 matches?
Yeah, of course. And I still think the triple threat match is what people remember from WrestleMania 20. Not just the ending, I would say the entire match with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Benoit. I would say if you think of WrestleMania 20, you think of the return of The Undertaker, you think of Rock's return, you think of that triple threat match. So I would say putting that, I would say that's probably like, if I was booking WrestleMania 20, that'd probably be like the last 3 matches. I would have booked Undertaker, then Evolution, and then the triple threat, and have Eddie Guerrero come right before the Undertaker. So you have Guerrero, Angle, Taker, Evolution, and then a triple threat. So you get good.
You would put them that late on the show?
Yeah, you get good stories right back to back, so people are constantly entertained by something.
See, the only thing I would change about that lineup is I would do Eddie and Kurt first, but after that I would do the Rock and Sock and Evolution story, because for me I feel like the return of the Deadman with the Druids and with Paul Bearer, I think that should have been semi-main event.
Okay.
Not in terms of match quality, but just in terms of, first of all, it's The Undertaker.
That's
It's
fair.
his show. It's WrestleMania. At this point, we've begun the siege of the streak story. I mean, at Mania 18, he does that, 10 finger visual. We don't really start calling it the streak until Mania 23, 24. But at this point, Mania is pretty much becoming his show.
Yeah.
And so to have him go back to that iconic version of himself, and that was the debut of the theme song that we were even just listening to tonight, the revamped version of Jim Johnson's, funeral march from 1990 that he wrote. But it's the same organ part. If you listen to the revamped Undertaker theme, it's the same organ part, but just with a new trumpet fanfare as the melody. With more of an orchestral vibe and a really hard overdriven guitar just doing bar chords in the back, because you can hear that too. Very well done though, is that song. But I just feel like that is such a pivotal moment, not just in WrestleMania history, but in all-time WWE history, that, I don't know, for me, I would just do Eddie and Kurt, then the Evolution shit, then Taker Kane, then the world title match. Because I also think it's kind of weird to go from the Evolution and Rock Mick Foley thing to immediately going into the world title match, because I feel like it's a continuation of that Evolution story. And I don't know, I feel like it would make more sense to have a little bit of a cutoff, a break in between those before you go to it. That's just me. I just feel like the match between Evolution and Rock and Sock Connection could have just stood on its own and then have Taker and Kane and then the world title match. But I mean, I don't necessarily, I don't dislike the way you have ordered that. It's a fair order.
The way you did it is fine as well. That's also great.
It's all just a bunch of shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
With milk. Hey, I'd put this puddle of milk here. I'd put that trip of milk here. It's like, who fucking cares? It's spilled. So just clean it up. But so I just I just want to know where your thoughts were on that WrestleMania match of WrestleMania 20. So actually, I gotta say, I've never seen the Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit match all the way through. I know how it ends, but I've never seen it all the way through. So I think after this, I'm gonna go back and watch the Evolution and Rock match first, and then the triple threat on Mania 20. But I gotta say, it's pretty interesting. It's lucky on Vince's part that Rock was so, pretty much had both feet in the Hollywood door at this point. but the other half of his body, like his shoulders and his head, were still not, because Vince like was still grabbing him by his fucking neck and trying to get the last out of him that he could. And so I just think it's very lucky on Vince's part that he got Rock in a physical role for a match at Mania 20 before he lost him, because he didn't get him for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So, I mean, I think it's very impressive on Vince's half, at least, that when Rock was pretty much on his way out the door, he got him for that last match. And that was a fitting way to end it, you know, like with Ric Flair making fun of Rock making fun of Rick. That people's elbow he does where he's coming back off the rope and he does the...
I remember that, yeah.
And that's still one of my favorite people's elbows. I don't even remember how that match ended. I gotta go back and watch that. That's the only thing I remember is just that spot. I gotta go back and watch that right the fuck now.
Well, then I will not keep you any further than getting...
Oh, you don't gotta keep me, bro. You know I love doing this.
But yeah, the next time we meet, we start a brand new series. We start your memories of attending your live WrestleManias as we go through WrestleMania 29, 30, 32, 33, and 34. As we take a look back, watching the Undertaker matches from each WrestleMania and getting your firsthand experience.
I think I'm gonna have the most fun going over Mania 34.
I know, and I can't wait to get to WrestleMania 34. I can't wait to get your firsthand experiences of making that iconic poster that you have that's immortalized on WWE documentaries, video packages, everything. Everything that they do for The Undertaker from 2018 now has that poster in its video package. Going over that, going over your experience of seeing him return, seeing him in a remarkable shape, wiping the floor with John Cena in less than 3 minutes.
Getting his last ever flying clothesline to perfection.
Yes.
Running from pillar to post, like literally did 2 full on, went all the way to one corner, ran, got Cena, walked all the way back to the corner, got him. Like, but you know that's the sound he makes when he
I
goes
know.
full speed. And I also loved in the 90s when, and it's most prominent in his Buried Alive match with Stone Cold, when he would do a headbutt, he would say a perfect C. Says it every time. He just goes, C! Every time. And when he does it on Stone Cold in that match, it's like, it's so loud because the camera's right there in the hole with them, because they're both standing in the hole. And he just grabs him.
I have to rewatch that back and listen for that.
Yeah, because they're both, I think there's on YouTube. Hang on one sec. I think on YouTube, there's I'll go and look for it, but I think on YouTube, there's because that match is on the Undertaker's Deadliest Matches.
Yes.
Through this set. And I think that there is a 1-minute preview on YouTube that WWE posted as like a preview for people to want to buy that DVD. And that's the spot that's shown in that 1-minute preview.
Nice.
And that was where I noticed it for the first time. They're both standing in the hole. And Taker just grabs him by the head with one hand, just goes, see. And you can just hear it. Just
awesome.
It almost sounds like he's trying to say to him, like he's showing a fucking Stooges short and he's saying, listen here, see? But he's actually going, listen here, see.
But yeah, I can't wait to get to WrestleMania 34. I can't wait to get to all your live WrestleMania memories and just your experiences, firsthand experience of seeing The Undertaker live for 5 WrestleMania matches. And but until then, until we start that series, we say goodbye to this series. And I thank you, Eamon, for joining me on this 4-part series, and looking forward to our 5-part series. Whenever you are ready to get started on that, we shall commence with that. And we put this one to rest, as much the end of the era is, as I thank you, as always, for joining me.
You passed up on like 2 perfect puns for that, man. You could have said that we just came to the end of an era with our video series, You could have said that we laid it to rest in
In
peace.
peace.
Like you could have gone so
I
many different
know.
ways with that shit.
So many cliches. So many cliches. So little time.
So little time, so many cliches.
Yes.
Touche.
Touche. So until next time, Eamon, I thank you always for joining me here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. And until next time, when we start our 5-part series, same taker time, same taker channel, Creatures of the Night. We keep on rolling, baby. Until next time, thank you always, Eamon.
Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Whoa!